This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by Federal Premium Ammunition, by Onyx Hunt, the #1 GPS hunting map app. Onyx, know where you stand. And by Chief Upland. Push further and hunt longer with the game-changing vest from Chief Upland, built for your pursuit. Today I'm joined by Renee Tomala. Renee is a Pheasants Forever Field Representative in North Dakota. She'll give us a bird report and drought update from her region. Plus, we'll talk about programs that she's working on to recruit new hunters, and she'll give us advice to make your hunting season a success this fall. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. I'm your host. Brandon Morton is our producer. And today, my guest is Renee Tomala. Renee, welcome to the show. Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
You did. I'm really surprised, but you did.
What are some of the other ways that people pronounce it?
Tomala.
Tomala, gotcha.
Even the first name. I've been called Rennie before, which is, always fun.
Okay, Renee Tomala. Let's do this. All right. I feel like every time I open up my Instagram account, I see a photo of you or somebody that you're hunting with holding a turkey. How many have you bagged this fall? Or not this fall, this spring?
We're at number 4, so we've got 2 left to go. It's been a really good season so far.
Where do you hunt?
The 4 tags that we've had so far are here in North Dakota on the western side, so the Badlands. And then our 2 that we have remaining are for Minnesota. And we're going to hit the timber over there for the last 2 tags.
Gotcha. Who do you hunt with?
Joe, mostly, and my dad, but my fiance, Joe. And then I like to get out in the field. So does he with my dad. So as many people as we can get, kind of. But it's kind of an intimate thing. Joe and I love to be in the turkey woods together and to experience the spring. So it's been fun.
Oh, gosh. Well, one of my all-time favorite hunts that I've ever been on is with your fiance, Joe. And we were somewhere near Bismarck, North Dakota. We filmed a Flush episode. And it was, Renee, it was not... I'm not lying when I say that it was negative 30 degrees and the wind was blowing, 30 miles an hour. It was just ridiculous. And you guys had back-to-back blizzards. So there were some snowdrifts that were, 6, 8, 10 feet tall. And I remember digging a hole in the snow to put our cameraman when we set up our blinds, and we buried everybody in, and he was standing up with the camera up on a tripod, and we could have still dug it further down. That's how deep the snow was. And he was at, ground level, but we shot our limit of geese, and we shot all drake mallards, and it was a hunt that you just it was just amazing. But anyway, I love hunting with your fiance probably as much as you do. So I'm a little bit jealous that you've got to sit out in the field with him. But anyway, the Badlands are just spectacular. I think it's one of the most underrated parts of our country, and the amount of public land that's available out there for people to hunt in. Describe that terrain to somebody that's never been there and hunted it.
You're not wrong about the vast amount of public land out there. The Little Missouri National Grasslands are incredible. You have everything from ponderosa pines to wide open shortgrass prairie and just a whole gamut of species that call it home. And it's just, you find prairie crocuses in the most unexpected places, in the pines and in the cedar. And it's just, I don't know, it's incredible. It's breathtaking.
How would you, when you're turkey hunting it, obviously it's different than upland hunting out there, but what's your approach? Do you camp out there? Are you roosting the birds? Describe, we'll get into the upland side of this soon, but it's turkey season right now, so we can talk about turkeys. I love them too. What's your approach out there?
Yep, we camp out there, and we camp adjacent to the Little Missouri National Grasslands that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. And so we roost birds out there at night, and then we put on a lot of miles during the day. And it's kind of just spot and stock and running and gunning. and trying to locate birds. And there's a lot of draws and just some really good habitat territory out there or a turkey territory. Oh my goodness, out
Yeah.
there. And it's easy to get lost out there, and you can really wear yourself out chasing birds out there.
I've done it firsthand. I lost my dog out there last year. She was a puppy. She ran away from us, but we found her. We got her back. It's all good. Life learned lesson right there. So what is your favorite upland bird to hunt?
Upland, I would definitely say roosters. I haven't shot too many upland birds. Still have yet to bag a quail, and we've got some partridge and stuff out here, but definitely
Hmm.
the wily roosters are my favorite.
Yeah. What is it about that bird that keeps you coming back?
I think the explosion of the flush and just the cackle as they take off, and how stunningly beautiful a rooster is, and the habitat that they call home, I think, is my favorite. So learning to identify the good quality habitat and keying in on those places and seeing the species that are intermixed in those is, I don't know, it's all just kind of my favorite. And the camaraderie, I think, that comes with pheasant hunting is definitely right up there at the top.
Yeah. If you could choose to go on a hunt with your friends or just you and your dog, which would you choose?
Ooh, that's a really good question. The past couple of years, I have been hunting primarily with people, with friends, as many friends, new and old, that I could. And now that I have Quill and it's going to be his first hunting season, I think right now I would say Quill and I. But I think I do love hunting with friends and family just as much. So kind of depends on the day.
Yeah, I can relate too because having Daisy and last year spending so much time with her in the field and she was just a puppy. But I found just a lot of joy in being able to work with her out in the field. And then it was just her and I out there, no other dogs to compete with. And I found that she's a different dog in the field when there's other dogs there. She's got a lot of maturing to do, and she's done that over the last few months. So I'm excited for this fall. But I know a lot of hunters that are extremely successful when they go out on their own. They come back with birds every single time, and then you get them in a group setting and something changes. It's just different because when you get a line of people walking, talking, dogs running all over, it's a little bit different. So I'm torn on that. I love people. I'm a people person like you, and I want to enjoy the camaraderie. But I also think there's something kind of special about just one person in the field with their dog and going on that walk, finding their birds together.
Yeah, I definitely get what you're saying about the dynamic change between going at it solo and then going at it with a group. But I found, like, even last season, I hunted with a lot of people and I wasn't really paying attention to the birds, to be honest with you. I was just out there for the good people and the good scenery and really just putting on some boot miles. So the birds were just a bonus. But yeah, the dynamic is definitely different there.
Right, right. Well, you say you hunt with a lot of people. Who do you hunt with?
I was able to hunt with a lot of Pheasants Forever staff last year, which was really incredible. A lot of new coworkers and some old coworkers and new people, new upland hunters. So I don't think I upland hunted with Joe at all last year. It was really just as many friends as I could get out in the field with.
Nice. So what is your favorite place, or where is your favorite place to hunt in North Dakota, and why?
Hmm. I think a little bit west of Bismarck. The bird numbers are good, and you start to get into those rolling hills and a little bit of the buttes mixed in there.
Hmm.
So it's that, I don't know, it's just a really good habitat. It's really good habitat out that way, and the bird numbers are great. So it's it's definitely beautiful out just a little west of Bismarck. So I think that would be my favorite, with a lot of prairie potholes mixed in too.
Yeah, that region, I would agree. That's one of my favorite places because you've got, like you said, the variety of landscape. You also have the variety of birds. You've got the huns, you've got sharptails and pheasants. And I've been on hunts out in that area before where in a single walk, you come back with all three. But you're not quite to the Badlands yet where there's not much for crop. So the pheasant population is really strong there too. I'm assuming the answer is probably the same here, but if somebody said I could only hunt one place this year in your state, where would you choose?
Ooh. And we're talking pheasants, right? Or upland?
Your whatever upland bird you want.
I would think just a little bit west again, maybe even a little bit further west than I was originally talking about to hit into those sharp tails because those are going to open up in the middle of September, and I am really anxious to get Quill out for his first true hunt. So I think maybe even a little bit farther west for those grouse.
Gotcha. What breed is Quill? Your puppy?
Quill is a German wire hair pointer, but I do like to call him a wire hairless because he's so slick. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Is that typical for the other pups in his litter?
I haven't seen too many photos of the pups all grown up. A lot of when they were a few weeks old, but he has definitely a tighter coat, a little bit of a scraggly beard coming in now, but he's definitely not as long of hair as a many German wire hairs.
Describe the puppy. If I had to describe my puppy, Daisy, bold, strong prey drive, wants to run 5,000 miles every day if I'd let her. How about Quill?
Ooh. Some of them are a little colorful,
Yeah.
probably stubborn and chewy or hungry. He eats everything and anything that he can put in his mouth. It's insane, but definitely stubborn and energetic.
Perfect. Wonderful. That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, where do you call home now?
I call home here in Bismarck, North Dakota, but originally from Minnesota.
Really? What part of Minnesota?
Down by south of the St. Cloud area originally, but my folks are now up by the Duluth area as of the past couple years.
Okay. So how old were you when you got into hunting?
Oh gosh, very little, very little. Just able to walk little.
Really?
Yeah,
Your dad take you out?
yeah. My dad would take me out hunting as soon as he could, but most of the beginning years were spent sleeping below his tree stand or getting soaking wet in the canoe before I could hunt myself. But I think my earliest memories are of him bringing home ducks or deer and me doing the best that I could to try and help clean them. And he'd always give me little tasks to help clean the ducks or something. So those are some of the earliest memories that I have of hunting with him.
So if your earliest memories were you getting cold and wet, can I ask why you wanted to come back?
That's a good question. I think truly just for my dad. I was and am a daddy's girl, and I was the boy that he never had, and I followed him around everywhere. And so whenever he went hunting for anything, I was right there behind him and following in his footsteps. So it was really just for him.
Oh, that's cool. I feel like I hear a lot of different stories. Everybody's got their own story. And some people that don't hunt, when I talk to them about it, they say, well, I went out with my dad or my grandpa and it was cold and boring. And then you hear somebody else say the same story. Like you just said, it was cold and wet, but you stuck with it. I wonder if, and maybe we can't really answer this, but for each individual, if you can change the way that experience brings them back into the field, or maybe that's not a good way of saying it, but like, why does that same experience hook one person and not the other?
I have I've thought about that a lot, and it doesn't quite make sense to me. I have two older sisters that hunted with my dad when they were younger, just the same as I did, but they don't do that much hunting now, barely at all, actually. And so I've been asked that before. How come I live and breathe hunting and some other members of my family just don't? It's just kind of more passive, but it's really intriguing. I don't know. I think there's a lot to making new hunting experiences comfortable for people, but if I had to say anything, I would think that it comes down to finding your niche within the outdoors. So, finding something that you're truly passionate about that you can exploit, whether it's family time, like for me, spending quality time with my dad. But I also just loved nature from when I was a little kid. I just spent all of my time outside, dirty as all can be. But whether it's nature or the food that comes from it, the meat, or the family time and the memories, just finding that thing, that spark that you're really passionate about, and taking that and running with it, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll get into some of this as we talk more about your role at Pheasants Forever, but sometimes I wonder if we're trying to force people to like hunting when they really don't.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to recruit people. And I use your example. You've got, two older sisters. You all three had the same opportunities, and yet you're a hunter, you love it, you live it, and your other two sisters don't. And I wonder if, we can show people, we can take them out, give them the experience. Maybe they're going to stick with it, and maybe they're not. Maybe we're just trying to force it too much. Do you have any take on that?
Yeah, I think you're hinting at kind of what I was talking about. So, I think traditionally we've held like learn to hunt events and tried to just say, hey, let's go out in the field. This is hunting. I love this. Maybe you'll love it too. But
Mm-hmm.
taking a step back and finding that niche again. And so maybe it's the bird dog, and maybe it's watching a dog work and seeing all of its potential and getting that excitement over a point or a flush, or that lean, sustainable meat that comes from it. Just instead of just saying, here's hunting, here's our way of hunting, but opening it up and having a more broad approach to letting people see the whole experience of hunting, what everything beautiful that comes from it, and letting them find that thing in there that they love, and helping them take that and run with it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like some of the most successful hunts that I've been on with first time hunters or new hunters are where I'm not necessarily setting up here's a canned hunt for you to experience it for the first time. We're going to take, a bunch of new hunters out. We're going to go to a game farm, do that, to give them the experience. I'm not saying that doesn't work, because I think it does for the right person. But from my perspective, I found it to be really successful when I go hunting with somebody, they go hunting with me, we're hunting together. This is really what hunting looks like. Now they can see the challenges that come with it and decide, do I want to continue doing that? Or did I see that bird escape and trigger something in my mind saying, holy crap, there's a wild bird that 20 of them just outsmarted us. I cannot believe we failed, but now I want it. Now I want to go back and do that again. And so when you take them along and they get to see all the stuff that goes into it, there's more to it than just, okay, here's your orange vest, here's your orange hat. We're going to get in a line. There's going to be 5 guys posted at the end. We're going to walk through it. I don't know. I just feel like letting a new or a first-time hunter be a part of your hunt versus making a hunt all about them has a lot of value.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah. Which, you know, out here in North Dakota, when we hold our learn to hunt events and even our learn to shoot events, we're really focusing on the social aspect as much as we're focusing on the hunting or the shooting aspect, because you get to make those connections to the hunt and to find reasons why you love it or why you could love it. And that social network really provides you with an opportunity to tell stories and to learn from other people, and to have that friend that you could go out in the field with. So it's just as important. Those canned experiences, they're great. They'll still work, but we like them to be a little bit more broad and inclusive now.
Okay. What is your official title at Pheasants Forever?
It's field representative for North Dakota.
Gotcha. What is your role? What does that mean as a field representative?
So I get to work alongside our dedicated volunteers that make up our chapters within the state. So we have 25 active chapters all across North Dakota that range from border to border of the state. So it's a lot of dashboard time. But I get to work with these volunteers to fundraise and then to spend that money on really good things, all things relating to our mission. So getting habitat out on the ground, creating access, advocating for conservation, getting kids' hands dirty, engaging our next generation of hunter conservationists, you name it. Basically, it's the best job in the world.
Okay, what? Oh, I'm sorry, clear my throat there. Brandon, you might want to cut that out. Sorry, guys. Okay, so okay, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Here we go, Brandon. What makes it the best job in the world to you? What is your favorite part about that job?
The people, hands down, the people. We have the most passionate volunteers ever. The folks that I have met through PF are just so incredibly dedicated and committed to getting kids and new folks outdoors and just creating as much habitat as they can. And it's humbling. The people are incredibly humbling, and I'm very fortunate and privileged to work with them.
Yeah, when they're volunteering, it's because there's a passion for it, and that's contagious. It's a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. I can relate to it. I've been fortunate to talk at a lot of banquets and work alongside a lot of volunteers, and they're volunteering their time because they care, and that's what's cool. So on the same kind of question, what's your least favorite part of the job? And Meet Your Boss may or may not be listening, but you have to be honest.
Yeah, Tom, if you're listening, just hit the sound off. No.
Mute for a second.
Probably just the dashboard time. I get to see a lot of really cool parts of North Dakota and immerse myself in small towns that I otherwise wouldn't have. So I guess it's not really all that bad, but probably the dashboard time.
Yeah, that makes sense. How do you get a position like yours at Pheasants Forever? What was your journey like to get to where you are now?
Well, I graduated from college with a degree in wildlife management and natural resources management, and moved out to North Dakota shortly after college and started applying for jobs and saw a few job openings with PF. Didn't get the first one, in all honesty, and then was referred to the second one. So here I am now, and I'm 4 years in. And you actually don't need a natural resources degree to be in this position at all, but it definitely helps. But there are a lot of really sweet job opportunities within PF, and for everything from at home office to in the field as a biologist. It's a wide array of positions.
Well, I saw last week, or maybe it was the week before, that you shared a photo of a bunch of kids working on a pollinator habitat project. How can you describe what it's like to spend a day really immersed in kids' lives and showing them hands-on how to work the land?
Chaotic.
Yeah, I bet.
It's chaotic. It's good chaos. It's really incredible. You get to get down on their level and really just try to teach them about pollinators and their importance and their decline, and habitat, what quality habitat looks like, why we need to create more of it, but really just get on their level and speak to them in a way that they understand. And relating it to things like food, because everybody likes to eat food, and telling them that we have pollinators to thank for that. And just really relating it and teaching that material to them in a way that they can grasp it and then take it home and tell their friends and family it's wonderful. It's a lot of kids running around because we give them candy, so they're on a sugar high. We
Nice.
get them, I know, we get them to play games. We have a predator prey game that teaches them in a really fun way about quality habitat. And so they get candy, they run around as pheasants, and then there are predators out there, and they try to eat or pick up the candy. And there's hula hoops that they can stand in, which is their quality habitat. And then you get them to look up on the landscape and identify what quality habitat looks like out on the landscape around them, what bad habitat looks like, or what things we could improve upon. And it really engages them in conversations about today's world and what they can do to be a part of it, to help our pollinators and to help out habitat. So it's really fulfilling. It's just really chaotic.
I bet it's both of those. I don't remember having anything like that when I was a kid. I really don't. I mean, we didn't make that a priority in the schools. Some of the outdoor programs that are available to kids today, I don't think we're going to see the effects of that for 15, 20 years, but you're planting seeds, right? And not just in the ground, but you're planting them in the lives of these young kids. You don't know what that's going to grow into someday, but do you see kids that probably don't give a crap and then some that are really into it?
Absolutely. And it's my goal at that day when I have them to make them care. And when you start talking about food, they really start to care and they really start to get it. But those kids that care are just, it's really, really cool. I had one young gal last week up in Alexander, North Dakota, raise her hand in the question part of it. And she said, "How old do I have to be to volunteer?"
Oh,
and it's
bless
just,
her.
I know, it's so cool to hear things like that. And honestly, some of the most unintentional R3 or recruit, retain, reactivate moments come from those little kids being in that environment where we're talking about wildlife and we're talking about habitat, and we're not necessarily talking about hunting, but to tell you some examples of what I'm talking about, I had one little kid ask me at that same event, "So do you not want us to hunt pheasants?" And that's a legitimate question when we're talking about trying to create more birds. And I kind of let the conversation play out a little bit. And finally, one boy spoke up and he said, "Yeah, we do, because my mom needs to make pheasant pot pies."
Nice.
And I was like, "Yep, we do love to eat pheasant." And I had one little gal last year at an event walking with her classmate, and he was saying that he had never eaten pheasant before, and he didn't know what it tasted like. And she offered to him that he could come over on pheasant opener and he could go pheasant hunting with them, and then he could eat the pheasant with them. And so it's just some of those really sweet R3 moments that, again, just come from putting them in that environment where they can talk about it and where they can care about their natural surroundings.
Oh, I love that. I have a similar example. So 2 weeks ago, I was out in the Black Hills with my family, and the campsite we were staying at had a trout stream running through it, and then they kind of had sort of like ponds, deeper pools in the stream, and there was a bunch of trout in it. And my boys were fishing and catching trout, and these other kids came over and they were kind of watching. And I'm always looking for opportunities to include other people, whether we're hunting or fishing or whatever it might be, but I'm always looking for chances. And I asked the kids, I said, do you like to fish? They're like, "Well, we don't fish at my house because my dad doesn't fish, but I think it's cool. And I said, would you like to try to cast and catch one? And he goes, oh, I want to so bad. And so we let him make a couple casts. And then unfortunately his parents called him back, must have been, they were leaving. And he was just glowing. Thank you so much for letting me fish. I want to do that again. So it's just including or looking for ways to include kids like that. We don't know where it's going to grow into, but it's just extremely important to provide those opportunities, because some of them may want to do it. They just don't have anybody teaching them or showing them. And it's very simple to do that.
It is. And that is such a sweet moment. And Travis, honestly, that kid's probably going to go home and get his dad into fishing. And that's the same thing that happened with Joe. Joe did not grow up in a hunting family, but he expressed interest in it, and they had a family friend take him, and he got his dad into hunting and fishing at a young age. And so I think that's a really cool way to get into it, is not your folks bringing you up in it, but you creating a hobby that you can do with your parents.
Yeah, it's amazing how it works with the kids sometimes, and how they can bring, this is another story that I'll tell you real quick. But last year when all the school sports were shut down, my boys, 5 and 6 year old, we got them a bow to shoot. Well, then my nephew and niece saw that they wanted one. Their friends saw it. So pretty soon in this little circle of kids, there was like 12 kids that all got these little youth model bows to shoot. And they were shooting together at this park in town, shooting archery range that was within the park. And then this one kid's dad's like, I want to do this with my son. He got a bow. He had never hunted before, grew up never hunting. This spring, 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, I went turkey hunting with him, took him out turkey hunting. 2 birds come into the decoy. The adrenaline is pumping, and he shoots an arrow a foot over the top of the first bird and a foot underneath the second bird. And he was just shaking with excitement. And he's like, that is the greatest thing I have ever done. I cannot believe it. And he was so jacked up. But if you think about how that circle plays out over the effect of a couple of kids and their kids, and pretty soon a parent gets it. And now this dad, he's been out turkey hunting 4 times in the last 3 weeks since we went the first time. And he reports back, he's like, I heard him gobbling this morning. And now he's into it. He's into it. Who would have thought that a couple of kids target practicing would have gotten more kids, would have gotten a dad in? And what I'm trying to say is we don't know always how it plays out, right? And you don't know always how your work is affecting others, but it is having an impact for sure, which is exciting.
It is just planting that seed. That's so cool. Wow, that's fun.
Yeah. So let's move on to some of the other projects you guys are working on. You have wing shooting clinics coming up. What are those?
We do. We have a busy summer. So we are holding some women's wing shooting clinics through the women's chapter here in Bismarck. And then as a state team, our education and outreach coordinator, Hannah, is planning some Learn to Hunt series. So you go through shooting clinics and then all the way up to the actual hunts. But the wing shooting series they're really fun. So you get to come at it from any experience level, from never having shot a shotgun before, or you need as much help as you can get, like I do, and you're an experienced shooter. You can come at it from any level, and then they build upon each other. So it's a progressive series. You start with the basics, kind of knocking out some of that bad form, if you have it, some bad learned habits. So your stance, your eye dominance, your form. And then the next night you will go out on the trap range and you'll shoot some clays, at some easy stands. And then you just keep building on the skills and putting it all together, because shooting it's a lot to take in all at the same time. Am I standing right? Am I closing my eyes? Am I tracking the bird right? Am I shooting above, below it? It's a lot to break down. And so these are a really great way to just look at every step of it and to help you come out of it as a better shooter.
So you have both men and women at these wing shooting clinics?
We have held just women's clinics in the past, and then this summer Hannah will be holding some that are open to anyone that wants to attend.
Okay. What's the response you've been receiving on those women's shooting clinics and women's events? Is it really taking off?
It is. It's just been growing ever since we started really tackling women's targeted outreach here a few years ago. But the appetite is there and it's strong. We have a lot of women signing up for stuff and a lot of women that are repeat customers. So they'll come back to many of our events and we try to hold a wide array of them. So anything from learning how to pheasant hunt, learning how to shoot. We hold our women wine and wild game events. And then the women's chapter holds a lot of more broad things like foraging and hiking and learning about habitat and conservation, things like that. So the demand for it is definitely out there.
So if let's say a husband is listening right now or boyfriend wants to get their wife an opportunity to learn alongside other women, what would they do? How would they sign up?
You can follow along with anything that we're doing on Facebook or Instagram. I'm very active on both of those platforms for our state efforts and for the chapter as well. But I encourage you to just take a look at the Women on the Wing landing page on the Pheasants Forever website. We have a direct link there to any and all women's events that are held across the country. So
Yep.
by chapters or by the state, you can find them all on one link and offer it and sign up and encourage her to bring a friend and go, because I'll tell you, it's not always easy learning from Joe, and I'd rather learn alongside another woman or alongside a friend. So
Hmm.
it can be a lot more beneficial for them to sign up for a women's event.
Yeah, and I think, I've in my years as a fishing guide, and then in my role, in the hunting world too, I've taught a lot of people, kids, women, men. And one thing that I've learned over time is that there's a lot of value in having somebody else kind of come alongside and teach. It's just like our kids when they have coaches in sporting events. There's a lot of value to somebody else explaining things. It can be received differently versus you telling your kids or you telling your wife, this is what you need to do. Sometimes it can be a stressful situation if you're trying to, hey, I really want you to go hunting with me and I really want this to work. Whereas if your wife or your girlfriend gets to go with other women in the same season in their hunting career, they get to walk alongside and they learn together, and it can be really, really rewarding. And I will tell you from my experience teaching people, it, women are the number one easiest to teach because unlike men, they're usually not as stubborn and they usually listen to what you're saying because they're good at listening, and then they apply those things. And a lot of time it's not a masculine muscular thing, it's a form thing that creates success, either fishing or hunting or shooting, all of that stuff. I think my wife is a better shot than I am because she's so detail oriented. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And all of a sudden, boom, she hit her first clay target. She went like 12 straight after that without missing. And I was like, babe, you rock. You're doing awesome. And then it's just fun for us. So I tell men all the time, take your wives with, show them, give them the opportunity. And obviously, you're going to have these, like what you and Joe are experiencing together in the field. That's something that every couple grows their marriage, their relationship. It's just sweet. It's just great. So do it. And, you're providing these opportunities for women to learn more, and then obviously kids too. But Women on the Wing is not just North Dakota. You alluded to that. It's nationwide. Um, that particular part of Pheasants Forever's mission, the Women on the Wing, how have you seen that change over the last few years?
It's really grown a lot in the last couple of years. So we held the first ever Women, Wine, and Wild Game here in North Dakota as just really an attempt to get women in the same room, whether they hunted or not, and to sample a variety of wild game prepared in a lot of really delicious ways, and then to talk about why we love the outdoors. And since then, I guess shortly after that, the Women on the Wing initiative was born, and it has just skyrocketed. We have women's chapters popping up all over the place. We've got traditional chapters taking on women's targeted outreach and holding events. We are holding national women wine and wild games. We just had a virtual one last week. It's just grown so much, and it's been the most inspirational thing that I've been a part of. And I'm very, very lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's exciting. Well, you alluded to something that we're going to dive into in a second, the windshield time. And that's important because there's changes happening on the landscape right now. Birds nesting, drought. We're going to get into that all in just a second. But first, a message from Chief Upland. For generations, bird hunters have hit the fields carrying some form of a vest or game pouch on their back. Sometimes the vests rip, tear, and fall apart. Other times they are downright uncomfortable. That's why Chief Upland designed a vest that's durable, comfortable, and fits your needs. Their new Upland vest is fully customizable to fit the size and shape for all hunters. Plus, you can decide where you want to attach your shell pouches and accessories. Last fall, I tested a Chief Upland vest for the first time, and I simply love it. Birds can be front-loaded into the game pouch, and they fit nicely in the back without sagging. You've all probably seen those hunters in the field carrying birds in their pouches that hit the back of their legs after every step they take. Well, that doesn't happen with the Chief Upland vest. They ride high in your back, which is a big deal because it doesn't tire you out while on the hunt. And I should know because I always shoot my limit. Just kidding. The vest itself is extremely lightweight, weighing only 2.56 pounds. The material is built out of Cordura fabric, which is waterproof, breathable, and designed to withstand the world's toughest environments. How can you trust that? Well, it's the same fabric used in tactical military gear. I can say that my Chief Upland vest is one of the nicest hunting vests that I've ever worn. Push further and hunt longer with the game-changing vest from Chief Upland, built for your pursuit. All right, Renee, what are you seeing on the landscape right now in your travels?
I am seeing a lot of birds, actually. We had a really mild winter as far as North Dakota is concerned. Mm-hmm. So birds came out of it really healthy. And right now with, breeding season, mating, they're out and about and they're on the roads and they're in the ditches. So there are a lot of birds, and I have been hearing the same from people all across the state. So they're bountiful, and we just need some moisture, Travis. We need some rain out here.
Yeah, I've been talking about this with a lot of friends. I've talked about it on the show, but I really believe that if we can get a little bit of moisture in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Kansas, our bird numbers could be at, one of the highest that we've seen in decades this year, based on the lack of winter that most of bird country saw. And I know this extends even into Chucker range, further west, but just, we need the moisture. Which parts of the state have been hit the hardest by drought from what you've seen?
I'd say the Southwest. It's a little tough to say because the last I heard and saw, 85% of North Dakota was in extreme drought, which is, it's a lot, but definitely the Southwest. And I will say from turkey hunting over there, right about the time that our wildfires started popping up, everything was crispy, and it kind of felt like everything could spontaneously combust underneath your feet. It was so dry, and I think that the Southwest had it the worst.
Well, one of my buddies, Tyler Webster from the Birds, Booze, and Buds podcast, he's been on this show a couple times, but I'm always in contact with him. And he actually tagged me on a post this morning showing rain in the forecast for Northwest North Dakota for the next 5 days coming up. And he also said that he had a couple of rain days in the past couple weeks, and he thinks that his area is going to be okay. But I also talked with my friend Mike Jensen from North Dakota Tourism last week. He lives in Bismarck, and he said there were a couple of rain days like maybe 8 to 10 days ago that came through where there was a nice, slow, steady soaking in Bismarck, but Minot never got one drop of rain. So he said it can be real spotty. Overall, are you concerned for birds in the state for nesting and for the hatch this year?
Overall, nope. As long as we can get some rain that produces some of those bugs and keeps that dew out there on the grass and out on the landscape, I think we're going to be in really good shape as long as those broods have something to munch on out there.
Are there birds that you think get hit or get affected harder by those conditions, by the drought? Is it pheasants or sharp? I feel like sharp-tailed grouse, they're just like a Wild West badass. Like, it doesn't matter what happens, they're going to be fine. Like, we're here, this is home, we know what to do. Pheasants, introduced a long time ago, but yet they still, they need things to be just perfect. And then there's Hungarian partridge too that were introduced. So which ones get affected the most by the changing conditions or by the drought?
I think you're spot on. I think it's pheasants. Sharptail are pretty tough birds. I think it's really just pheasant. Those baby birds need those 6 weeks of bugs, and if we don't have moisture out there, we don't have bugs, and so they can really get hit hard by the drought. Which is why I'm hoping that we get some rain. I'm doing my rain dances, and as you know, they're nesting and those baby birds need something to eat, and then we're going to have a really good fall out here.
Right. I'll do the rain dance with you because I get to come out and hunt with you this fall, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I always plan a couple of other hunts out in your area because it's so good. It's so good for people that have never gone out there, even from Minnesota. Like, drive 5-6 hours and you're going to have one of the best hunts of your life if you've never experienced it, because the opportunity, the amount of birds, and if you want a waterfowl hunt mixed in, that's for me what I just love to do. I love to hunt everything. What region do you think you're going to have the best bird numbers this fall?
Ooh, I won't keep it a secret. I think the Northwest, to be honest with you. They've been seeing a little bit of rain, and they have had an increase in bird numbers in the past couple years. I think it's kind of a hidden gem up there that not many people look to go up to the Northwest. But I think that's going to be our heavy hitter this fall.
Yep, I agree with you. Sorry, Tyler. He lives in the Northwest, and he's going to have a little bit more competition this year. But he talks about it a lot, too, and we've talked about it a lot. That is just kind of an area that, the further you get from populated areas, the better you're going to be. And a lot of people from, whether it's Minnesota, the metro area in Minnesota, or Wisconsin, or even Chicago. I mean, there's a lot of hunters that travel. Once they cross the border into the Dakotas, they're like, well, we're here. We'll just start hunting. But there's a difference if you travel that extra 4 hours, 3 hours, or maybe 6 hours and get into some of those areas that are just a little bit harder, further to reach. The hunting can be just that much better. I found out last week that North Dakota passed a new law this year that essentially will allow landowners to electronically post their land instead of posting signs on the edges of their property. So I'm working on lining up a guest from North Dakota Fish and Game to really dive in on what this means for hunters this year. But one thing that's always so appealing to North Dakota is if it's not posted, you can hunt it. And the thing about landowners in North Dakota is they've got, sometimes 20, 30,000 acres of land, so they don't post it all. They just say, you know what, go ahead. Do you know much about the changing to this electronically posting land? And what's your take on it?
I haven't had the time to sit down and read through that piece of legislation yet, but it's been in the works for a couple years. It seemed to have popped up during every legislative session in some form. Mm-hmm. But as far as I can understand now, landowners will have the opportunity to post electronically and then out on the landscape, so on their physical boundaries as well. I haven't quite heard what the application or the app is going to look like yet, or the platform that electronic posting is going to look like, but I've got my onX Hunt app, so I'm not too worried about that for the upcoming season, which is just another reason to love Onyx because it's not going to
Right.
let me. I'm a nervous Nancy when it comes to that stuff. So having that incorporated into a layer is going to be a beautiful thing. But it's going to change the way that we do things out here a little bit. And we've really just, as sportsmen's groups, have been working with landowners to come to an agreement that's mutually beneficial for both, because we have over 90% of our land is held privately in North Dakota, which is a lot. And our hunting heritage is strong. And so finding a place where we both can be happily is coming through in these pieces of legislation. So it'll definitely look different this year, but I think come July and August, when those enrollment dates come out or the deadlines, and then the app gets released, we'll get to play around and see what it looks like.
Right. Yeah. And I talked with one of my friends at Onyx about the law and connected them with the North Dakota, because I want them to be able to include that as a layer to say, because I think what it looks like now is it's its own individual app that we will have to download. And it's going to be similar to how we use Onyx, which tells us, private land, public land, and all the boundaries and everything. But to know, did that farmer elect to post it? That's what we're going to need to understand. And if they don't elect it, then it's basically the same as it always has been. If it's not posted, you can hunt it in North Dakota. So I think it's going to be an interesting season to try to learn and understand that. I've always been of the mindset that I feel weird coming from Minnesota and everything is essentially considered private unless you get permission. So even if it's not posted, you can't just go hunt it. So I always felt kind of dirty to just walk out into somebody's field without them knowing I'm out there. So I would like to stop and say, hey, I know it's not posted. Are you sure you're okay? Yep, go ahead. All right, wonderful. Now you feel great, right? So I don't know. I'm rambling now, Renee. Sorry about that. But I think there's more coming, and I'm going to probably have a full podcast to break down what we need to know coming up here. And I believe that legislation goes into effect mid-July, from what I understand. Do you know that to be correct?
I think what I remember is the deadline to enroll your land or post it electronically was July, and I think it might roll out early August.
Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Okay. Well, personally, how do you feel about this law?
I don't mind it. I am the same as you. I like to contact landowners. And so if it gives us more contact information to get a hold of folks, I'm all for it. It's some of the best connections that I've made out there. And it can really just be so beneficial to talk with a landowner and so that they know that you're out there. And I'm just the same way you are. So if it helps us bridge that gap a little bit more and keeps the relationship between landowner and hunter going smoothly, then I'm all for it.
Yeah. Okay. Last topic here. This is what I'm excited about. I mentioned a little bit ago that I get to hunt with you this fall, but this is something that's been very popular, I guess is a good way of putting it. But last year when COVID shut down all of the banquets, Pheasants Forever did a national virtual banquet, I guess we would call it. And one of the items up for auction was a road trip bird hunt that we would film with the flush. And we'd hunt with different Pheasants Forever reps. And we did this one in South Dakota, and it went really well. The Schwinn family, Hunter Schwinn, made the highest bid and got it, and he brought his dad and his two brothers with, and it was one of the most incredible pheasant hunts that I've ever been a part of, because we're hunting, we got to go hunt on different properties throughout the state. So we covered these different regions, but they set up the locations, and just like you, Renee, some pretty dang good locations. And this year we brought the trip back, and Hunter once again won the highest bid. And I think it's because he got to experience such an incredible adventure with his family, and we hit it off and had so much fun. When Bob St. Pierre at Pheasants Forever asked if I would do it again, I was like, I would absolutely do it again. It raised quite a bit of money for Pheasants Forever, which means I think we are going to continue doing this for a while and go to different locations. I don't know if hunters are going to win every single year. The highest bid this year went for, Renee, do you remember what the price on that was?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just 20 grand. I had to, it took me a while to get my jaw off the floor.
I know. Do you feel pressure now?
Not
you
at
feel
all.
pressure to perform? No,
Gosh,
good.
No, absolutely, Travis. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay, good. Well, then that's great too. No, don't feel pressure. I think I bring this up because I want people to be excited about the fact that this will probably continue and be an opportunity. Because again, this is open to anybody that wanted to bid. Hunter, they got in a bidding war that last hour. I was watching it because it was live, right? You could see the ticker counting down, and then Bob St. Pierre sent me a text. He's like, holy cow, it's getting hot over there. And it went up like 10 grand or 13 grand or something in the last hour. And yeah, I think it landed on like 20,000. But we get to come out and hunt with you, and we're going to produce a television show with the family that won the bid on it, Hunter, like I said, and his dad's going to come back with his brothers. I just want you to know that they are as nice of a family as you could ever possibly spend a few days in the field with. And so I will try to hold up my end of the deal by being as nice as they are, and take the pressure off of you and your coworkers that work so hard to set this up. But where do you think we're going to end up hunting? Where do you want to go, and what do you want to hunt for?
Gosh, I don't want to jinx myself. Now I would think central North Dakota to western, maybe northwestern a little bit, where those bird numbers keep going up and maybe they're going to keep getting a little bit of rain. But I don't want to jinx myself because the pressure is very, very real.
I'm serious when I say don't stress it. It's hunting. They've hunted in North Dakota their whole life too, and I have as well. So it'll be a fun few days out in the field. Any last thoughts for people looking to maybe help out on any of the events that you've got coming up or want to be a part of it in any way?
Yeah, I always encourage folks to get involved, whether that means buying a membership to support what we do at Pheasants Forever, or helping out your local chapter with your time, your sweat, your passion. Everybody always has something to give. So we are always better for it, for those folks that want to get involved.
Wonderful. Well, good luck filling the last 2 turkey tags this year. And thanks for taking the time today to share your passion with us.
You bet, Travis. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Once again, thank you to our sponsors, Federal Premium Ammunition, Onyx Hunt, and Chief Upland for helping us to make this show possible. Be sure to download the Onyx Hunt app before your next hunting adventure to find out why it's one of the most valuable hunting tools available today. And check out the all-new, fully customizable Chief Upland vests for your next hunt. They're built for your pursuit. If you need a bird hunting fix, you can watch all of the Flush episodes from last season and the seasons prior. They're available in their entirety on our YouTube channel. Simply search for The Flush TV on YouTube and you'll find us. You'll also find that television show I was telling you about where I got to hunt with Joe Fladelin and his buddies. Actually, I filmed 2 shows with them, but the Blizzard hunt is one that will forever stand out in my mind. If you have any questions or guest ideas for this show, please send them my way. You can reach us on Facebook and Instagram. Plus, you can also find us at the Flush website, which is simply theflush.tv. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next week with another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank, reminding you to take the time to introduce someone new to the field.